Long before our time, when gods still walked among mortals, there existed an age unlike any other, an era when men dared to challenge destiny itself. That was the age of heroes, a time when mortals stood shoulder to shoulder with gods, and their deeds shaped the very soul of humanity. And at the heart of this age burned a war that would echo through eternity, the Trojan War. It began with a wedding, the grand union of Peleus, a mortal king, and Thetis, a sea goddess. Every god and goddess was invited, except one Eris, the goddess of discord. Insulted Eris crashed the feast and hurled a golden apple into the hall. On it were inscribed 3 fateful words: for the fairest one. Once, 3 goddesses claimed it: Hera, queen of the gods; Athena, goddess of wisdom; and Aphrodite, goddess of love. None dared to judge among them, for offending even one would invite ruin. So they turned to immortal Paris, prince of Troy. Each goddess offered him a bribe. Athena promised glory in war. Hera offered dominion over men. And Aphrodite whispered of love, the love of the most beautiful woman on earth. Paris made his choice. He gave the apple to Aphrodite. And with that simple act, destiny began its march toward blood and ruin. The woman Aphrodite promised was Helen of Sparta, wife of King Menelaus. Under Aphrodite's spell, Helen fell for Paris and fled with him to Troy, leaving her husband and her homeland behind. Menelaus' grief turned to fury. Together with his brother Agamemnon, king of Mycenae, he called upon the oath sworn by every Greek prince to protect Helen's honor and punish whoever wronged her. Across the Aegean, kings and heroes answered the call. The greatest warriors of Greece gathered beneath a single banner, setting sail for Troy, 1,000 ships carrying the vengeance of an entire civilization. Among the countless warriors who answered the call to arms, there were names that would never fade from memory. Odysseus, king of Ithaca, a man whose mind was sharper than any blade. He fought not with brute force, but with wit and cunning. A strategist whose ideas would one day shape the fate of nations. Then came Ajax, towering above all others, a living fortress on the battlefield. His shield could cover an army, and his courage never wavered, even when death stared him in the eye. But above them all stood Achilles, the son of the sea goddess Thetis, and the mortal king Peleus. He was neither fully god nor fully man, but something in between, the perfect embodiment of mortal ambition and divine wrath. From the day he was born, fate had already written his story. His mother, fearing for his mortality, dipped him into the sacred river Styx, granting his body invulnerability, all but a single spot where her hand had held him, his heel. The Achilles heel, his only weakness, and a cruel reminder that even the greatest are never truly invincible. Thetis foresaw his destiny. She knew that if her son went to war, he would achieve eternal glory, but die young, far from home. If he stayed behind, he would live a long, forgotten life, his name fading like dust in the wind. When presented with that choice, Achilles did not hesitate. He turned his gaze toward the horizon, toward Troy. "Let my name be remembered," he said, "even if my life is brief." In that moment, he sealed his fate. He chose immortality through legend, and from that day onward, his destiny and that of Troy were forever bound. The war dragged on for 10 long years. The walls of Troy held firm, and the Greeks grew weary, their unity poisoned by pride and ambition. When Agamemnon insulted Achilles by seizing his captive Brises, Achilles withdrew from battle, and the Greeks began to falter without their champion. As Troy's army surged, the Greeks faced despair. Then came tragedy. Patroclus, Achilles' closest friend, donned his armor and led the men into battle, only to be slain by Hector, prince of Troy. Rage consumed Achilles. He returned to the battlefield like a storm unleashed by the gods. No man could stand against him. Before the gates of Troy, the 2 greatest warriors met, Hector and Achilles. One fought for honor, the other for vengeance. Their duel shook the earth. When it ended, Hector lay dead, and Achilles, mad with grief, dragged his body around the city walls. But even the mightiest are not beyond fate. Soon after, Paris, guided by Apollo, loosed an arrow that struck Achilles in his only mortal spot, his heel. The hero fell, and with him ended the golden light of Greece's greatest age. The Greeks seemed doomed until Odysseus conceived a final, desperate plan. They built a colossal wooden horse, hollow within, and hid their finest warriors inside. Then they pretended to retreat, leaving the horse as an offering to the gods. The Trojans, believing victory was theirs, brought the horse within their gates. That night, as the city slept, Greek soldiers crept out from its belly, opened the gates, and signaled their fleet to return. Troy burned. Its towers crumbled. And amidst the flames, Helen was taken back to Sparta, her beauty now cursed as the cause of a civilization's end. Though the Greeks had won, their triumph was hollow. Agamemnon was murdered upon his return home. Ajax fell into madness and took his own life. And Odysseus would wander the seas for 10 long years before ever seeing his homeland again. The gods turned their faces away, and the age of heroes faded into legend, yet the Trojan War remained a tale of pride, love, and fate, of mortals who defied gods and paid the price. From that moment, humanity crossed a threshold, no longer mere playthings of Olympus, but beings who could forge destiny with their own hands. From the ashes of Troy, a single warrior escaped Aeneas, son of Aphrodite. He journeyed westward, across the seas, to a distant land where he would lay the first stones of a new empire. That empire would one day be called Rome, and thus, from the flames of destruction, the torch of civilization passed from Greece to Rome, and the story of mankind began anew, because in the end, every war, every hero, every fall is but another step in humanity's eternal quest to rise beyond the will of the gods.